things like that. I wrote in here that I like Superhuman. They're like one of my favorite AI newsletters, but it is a little bit comprehensive and scary for people who are not using it quite like fully yet, but it's still a really great place to start. So I know I spoke fast, I said a lot, and I hope you all are still with me, but these are some of my favorite tools to use, and I also shared why. So Zapier, it creates workflow. So you simply sign up for a free account and you can integrate it with your Google. If someone sends you an email that comes from your website and then you want to collect their information, it can all automatically put all of that information in a form for you. Of course, we know about ChatGPT, which is specifically around copywriting. You can use it to create strategies for your business, coding snippets, and you can also use Gemini, which is Google's product that does a similar thing. Copilot is more so for business. I like Dolly, and that's also part of ChatGPT, but it is a paid subscription, but you can create amazing images. Calendly helps you to schedule, and that uses automation and AI. I like Canva Magic Studio. So if you don't have access to a graphic designer or you're not a creative person, you literally can plug your logo, your colors, or allow Canva to do that for you based off of your industry, your needs, the market, and it can create something for you. And I'm saying this as a 20+ year designer and engineer. Like Canva is capable of doing some of the things that used to take me a month to do. And I like Notion because it's for project management. If you don't have access to that as a small business, is really helpful to have. And then of course there's MailChimp and HubSpot that has their own AI systems in it. So I believe that if you really want your business to flourish, these are simple and free or almost inexpensive tools that you can use to help yourself do that in a variety of ways. And thank you all for your time. I know we don't have that much, so I want to be mindful of that. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you have any further questions, and I'll still just be around for a bit.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time and your integrity in the marketplace. So we're going to deliberate now and have a fun conversation around AI. So again, thank you so much for your time, TeLisa. And for those who want to get in contact with her, definitely you can either watch the replay or her information is on our LinkedIn post for this event. Again, TeLisa, thank you so much for your time. All right. So you've heard the beginning. Now we're going to get into the meat. So I want to introduce to you, coming up to the virtual stage, Monique. She is the visionary behind Byte, Bright Young Tech Engineers, leads an AI and coding STEM program dedicated to bridging the technological gap in historical underserved communities. Byte's mission is to transform tech deserts into vibrant hubs of innovation. Inspired by her upbringing in Dorchester, Massachusetts, Monique is driven by a deep-seated commitment to creating pathways to STEM education for children in her community. In her current role as a product designer at a prominent fintech firm, Monique remains steadfast in nurturing her entrepreneurial spirit through Byte. A proud triple Husky, Monique's journey began at Northeastern University, where she balanced her IT role with graduate studies in counseling and student development. Over her decade-long tenure, she cultivated a passion for UX design, leveraging her counseling background to craft user-centered experiences. During her downtime, Monique finds solace in physical activity and cherishes moments spent with her family at her home just outside of Boston. Welcome to the virtual stage, Monique Clarke.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
Awesome. And also, we have NiKole Maxwell, author, facilitator, creator, speaker, artist, and all-around Technikole. As the owner of Technikole Consulting, A woman-led and Black-owned small business, NiKole guides organizations through the complexities of digital transformation, seamlessly integrating cutting-edge technologies into their frameworks to drive growth and innovation. Her niche lies in end-to-end technical program implementation, boasting multifaceted exposure across various industries, including SaaS, BPO, federal proposal development, and Web3, including metaverse cultivation, blockchain, and AI. NiKole is dedicated to the curation of inclusive metaverse spaces that foster learning and growth. NiKole ignites a spark in entrepreneurs, helping them discover augmenting creativity through offerings like art, that's AI art, work by Technikole, AI spokespersona by Technikole, and the upcoming Techniverse community. Here, professionals access AI innovations to enhance creativity and optimize workflows. While some refer to her as the goddess of the metaverse, this recognition stems from NiKole's renowned ability to help anyone understand emerging technologies and implement adaptations for their business. She empowers professionals with training on automation, business processes, ideation, and onboarding into the emerging tech landscape. NiKole is the master at cultivating inclusive metaverse environments that foster learning and growth in this new frontier. Let us welcome to the virtual stage, NiKole Maxwell. Welcome, NiKole.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
It's so good to have you both here on our guest panel today. As you've heard from our guest presenter, TeLisa, we are teching it all. AI is on the board today. I don't swear, so I can say tech it all. Because people are so much up in arms about what's going on with AI. They're fearful that they're going to lose their jobs, that they're not going to be able to compete at a high level. They're like, am I smart enough to go against AI? So we're going to set aside those fears that a lot of business owners are prevailing in their speech, and we're going to get with the correct info and correct lingo today. So number one, I am not the AI expert here today. That's why I have these two wonderful women entrepreneurs to educate me on AI, blockchain, and coding. And number two, we're going to dispel myths today. Women are powerful and they are spearheading the technological advance. So I just want to put it out there. Men, get mad at me if you want to, but I'm only telling the truth. The proof is out there. You Google anything and women pop up in the tech community. So let's begin with just going over what we just had a brief overview of AI and how it relates to business. So give me some of your thoughts on the talk that we just experienced. And I'll start with you, NiKole.
I think it was a very good kind of introduction to what you need to know. But I think for some folks, it might have been a little bit too high level. So they weren't, or not too high level, but it wasn't introductory. It was mind-blowing information, right? There are people who don't know that ChatGPT exists. They don't know that AI and automation and things like that are things that they can utilize in their business. And they're in parts of the world, because we're talking about the world nowadays. We don't talk about just our locals. They're in parts of the world that don't have stable internet. They're in parts of the world that don't have internet. So, it's a wide variety of people that we're dealing with that we need to expose this information to. And that's really what I try to do, is I try to meet people where they are and discuss all of these future technologies. I think that's one thing that I took away from it. But other than that, you've got all the pieces and parts that are moving. As a business owner, it's important and imperative that you start thinking about these decisions and whether or not you are going to tap into AI right now, determine what level of technical adoption you have. There are different levels to this thing, right? Like we like to say that there's levels to this, right? And so there are actual levels to technology adoption, and it's important to know where you sit with that. So you can be on the end, that is where we're probably at, which is, we adopt, we're early adopters. And then there's the laggards, and they're the folks who like, I ain't touching technology, and technology is not touching me. But in this case, technology is touching you, and you need to be aware of it. And so that's really what I want to say. And I'll be quiet and let Monique tap in, because those were my main takeaways.
All right. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Monique.
Yeah, I agree, NiKole. It's, it's moving very quickly. And at the same time, we've been exposed to this very early. And in our everyday lives, and things that we do every day for the last decade has informed what AI is today. And although I think TeLisa did a great job in terms of an introduction to like an overarching what it is, I agree with NiKole. There's people who don't even know, who aren't exposed and don't realize that they actually have been exposed for the last decade to AI, and they may not have been consciously using it, right? So spell check is AI, As designers, we use content aware. It was funny because I just got back from South by Southwest conference, and the trend is all AI, tech, emerging text, XR, all of that. And one of the things that was really big was around the ethical responsibility of AI, right? But then also some of the really small things that we were doing over time that we didn't tap into. Oh, we're actually informing a system. And it's very interesting. One person had mentioned the military, and how military has centuries of data that can be pulled out and put into a system where you can pull that data and be able to really form opinions, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's mind-blowing to me when I hear about decades and centuries of this that's available to really to influence today in the decisions that we make today. So yeah, I definitely dabble into AI. And like NiKole said, there are people who aren't as exposed, which is why, in my opinion, the younger folks, the younger generations ought to be exposed to it early on, because they inform the future of AI.
Now, we have to be specific when we say young people, because I still think I'm young. But
well, we all do. I'm specifically thinking about BITE, right? When I reference young people, I reference the demographic that bright young tech engineers are looking for, right? 8 to 11-year-olds, elementary age, even younger than that, because they are exposed to gaming. They are exposed to they are exposed in ways that they don't realize, and there's data that's being extracted from that's informing their future. And so I think it's important that they have a pulse on what's happening early. And so that's why BITE exists, to be able to expose young minds to AI, machine learning, basic coding principles, concepts, and really gauge their intuition, what feels natural to do, because these are the things that will inform their future.
Yeah. And you do have because I know you're going to have to head off in a bit. So just one more. I know, NiKole, I know you want to respond.
I got it. Sorry. I'll hold on.
But just I know you have an upcoming session, and this is for Massachusetts residents or those who live in New England. You have something upcoming for bikes. If you could just tell us about that before you have to head off.
Yes, thank you, Garry. So we are piloting a boot camp during April break. And April break in Massachusetts is coming up April 16th through the 19th. And we are piloting a boot camp for 8 to 11-year-olds, 10 to 5 p.m. Lunch will be provided, snacks provided, and lots of fun. really teaching them very, very basic introduction to AI and what coding is, but also exposing like, hey, these are your everyday games that you guys play, right? Like the Minecrafts and the Fortnites and all of that and Roblox. But there's code behind this that they are touching that they don't realize that they're touching. So we're exposing that and then bringing it back to the basics of the concepts of it. And so we are testing out the curriculum during this pilot. It's open. We have very, very limited spots, but we do plan to open up in the summer at an 8 to 10 week program. And so if you're not in on this round, you'll be in on the next.
Awesome. Awesome. So thank you so much again for being here today. We're going to have to do something more in the future, but I will post the graphic that you sent to me after this live so that anyone who's interested, they can see the graphic and get the details, but also click on the link to register for anybody who's living in Massachusetts or the New England area. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. And you can find us at byteventures.org, all one word, or byte_ventures on IG.
And
Follow
it's
us.
BYTE.
BY, Tech Engineers, BYTE. So thank you for having me. We'd love to continue the discussion in the future.
Awesome. Take care. Thank you so much. So NiKole, I know you've been waiting. I know you had some things to say, and I knew I was going to be able to have the opportunity for us to fully engage. But go ahead. I know you had a couple of responses to what was just said. So go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, congratulations to Monique. I did a spring break last year for the young folks, getting them into the metaverse and playing with all these kind of future tech. So she's going to have a blast. It is absolutely something that's well worth it. And I do agree, that the kids, they are going to be the ones leading the future. But I also look at things from the other end of the scope. So the kids, they have access to all these tools. And I am a gamer, so that's why I was in such a great position to begin to tell people about the metaverse, because I was a gamer. And so those games and things led me to a place where I knew about, meeting people that were unknown to me in real life and meeting them virtually and having a trust built with them based on their avatar personality and things like that. Like I already understood all that kind of stuff, so I could break it down. When we're talking about AI, the challenges here are going to be, I think, at the other end of the spectrum just as much. So we need the young folks to understand it, to lead, but they're going to be evolving as they grow up. They're evolving with this technology, so they're going to be more used to it. It's the other end of the scope. We have a very large population of elderly. And so that population is becoming bigger every single day. And these are the folks who typically are resistant to change. They're going through enough change as it is, right? As they're transitioning into this latter part of life. And they are the generation that didn't grow up with technology. And so they're more apprehensive about it. They're the generation that's been impacted by systemic changes the most, I think, out of everybody who's kind of living and breathing right now. They definitely have seen the brunt of that, at least from a change perspective, I think. But they have a lot more apprehension when it comes to technology. So what I am shifting gears to kind of do, or trying to wrap my arms around, is how we are going to be able to provide tooling and technology education and putting things like AI to work for our elderly population. And I think that there's a really great place for that. I am a child of the future. I've been in the future forever. So thinking about, when I was growing up, we were watching the Jetsons, right? And so you think about Rosie. Rosie was the robot who used to be in the home, and she would do things like cleaning. And so when we think about those mundane tasks, like I think cleaning is mundane. It is not something I like to do. I'm going to just say that right now, but it has to be done, right? But how much more of your time would you have if you had an efficient tool to be able to do that? And so when we look at robots and the combination of AI and a physical presence inside of a robot, and the fact that, we know that they're task oriented, we can create AI agents. That's something that we can do. So maybe that's new terminology for some, but there is an idea of an AI agent. You take that AI agent and you put it into a physical frame. You now have a robot that is programmed with the AI technology. And so that AI can now begin to do things for you, whether that's deliver you medicine on time, whether that's check your diabetes, if they check your sugar levels, or they're, checking your heart rate and your pulse. If you got high blood pressure, I've got high blood pressure. That is something that's come out for me. I've had a whole bunch of health stuff, so I'm really concerned about all this health stuff now. But there's things that these tools are going to be able to help us with. And, for those of us who don't know and aren't in this industry seeing all this stuff flash by every day, there's something called the Rabbit. It's a little tool that you can now use, and it links into all of your social media and all of your things, like she was talking about Zapier, and it takes that and puts it into a place where now you can walk around with AI in your pocket.
Okay. Pause right there. Hold up.
So I said a lot.
We're gonna get back to Rabbit.
We went on a whole trip.
We're gonna get back to Rabbit, because that's interesting, because one thing that I've noticed about tech companies, they don't use things haphazardly. There's a reason behind everything that's done. The name is curated for a reason. But let's go back to the elderly piece, right? Because I did just see a news presentation on a specific AI that they're utilizing in elderly homes and senior living, to where this one lady, she was actually having full conversations with this AI presence in her home. And it's learned so much about her. Her husband passed away. It knows her husband's name. It knows how she's feeling. It knows certain conversational tones. When she's feeling sad, it can recognize her tone, and it'll do certain things to soothe her. Like, this is real time. We're not talking about 10 years from now. Now, the look of the physical manifestation of it looks like another Echo or another Alexa. But I probably shouldn't have said that too loud. She's probably gonna start listening now. But anyway,
she's listening.
But she even tried to not humanize it, but give it like a meaning by putting a rabbit face over it, right? So that's why I'm going to this rabbit, because it's interesting. She put a rabbit face to kind of give it some type of connectivity to her. But I mean, she's having full out conversations with this thing every day. And she said, "This is my companion."
Oh, so that's scaring the heck out of somebody, right? Like, you, especially, those of us with faith, like there's some of that is very, very scary to people. And so, first of all, I want to tell whoever's scared right now, you have options and you have the choice. Right now, it is still very, very early. Nobody is shoving this down your throat. You can take little pieces of AI, whatever you're comfortable with, and just break off that piece and then begin to implement that if you want to. Like, this is not being forced on anybody right now. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who want to do this. And so that lady wanted a companion, and you can tell because she was lonely. Now, first of all, that says something about us as human beings, that there are folks out here who are lonely. We know that, I believe it's Japan, has a very high population of hikikomori, I think is what they call them, but they're individuals who live alone and they don't want to, they're scared of the world. And so they're so lonely that they just stay inside their house all day, and they don't come out. They don't have any human interaction, but they have a very high population of those folks. And so one of the things that I was thinking about is, how can AI be used to help supplement their mental state? Right? Because that's a mental issue. If you are, lonely, and we know that that leads to long-term depression and things like that, how can we use AI to help supplement the mental state, or be that therapist that they don't want to go see because they're a human and they don't trust them? Right?
So let's talk about that. Well, let's analyze that real quick because I'm here for it today. So so we've since COVID, right? We've had a sincere launch of mental health online virtual connections to where you can now get professional help or assistance virtually. So, how does that play into, because, speaking as business and owners and entrepreneurs, we're trying to find ways to utilize AI to further our business services, to deliver our products better, to manage our industries better. So what are some ways that and we can deal with the mental health, psychology, and those fields, which I'm not an expert of either, even though I've worked in some roles administratively. I've been in the arena, so I have an understanding of frameworks. But how can we utilize, as business owners and entrepreneurs, utilize AI to further our business practices? And we can start here with the healthcare, and then we can evolve further.
So, this is technology, and in technology, we have a framework for kind of how do we create solutions. The first thing to do is define a problem, right? Cool. So what is your problem? In this case, the problem is, we have a wide group of people that need access to healthcare. And in the case of 2020 and COVID, we could not get out and about and get access to that healthcare. So Zoom, who, by the way, was on its way out the door when COVID hit because they were blocked by the federal government from being used, was brought back into the fold to be that vehicle for people to access. Beyond that, we're seeing things like the therapist being overbooked. So our therapists, our social workers, people who are providing counseling of any kind are typically overbooked. Like there's not enough room and space to actually to get in to see them, or you're waiting. I have one doctor that I had to wait 7 months to see. So 7 months with one ailment to see a doctor. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's very
and so now we have this tool that can be programmed as an expert. And so now maybe I opt to see the AI bot instead of seeing the doctor. Maybe I even trust that more, knowing how doctors have historically been negligent to Black folks in general, as well as Black women specifically, when it comes to gauging what we're dealing with and providing resolution and relief, because they felt like we were strong enough to take it. So why not? There's things like that where AI is like, maybe that's a better option than dealing with some of the stuff that we've been dealing with. So that's one way to look at it. Another way, again, getting to the problem. So you're a small business owner and you want to define, see how can AI be used to actually work for me in my business. First of all, try it out. So jump right in, either go to chat.bing.com and play with ChatGPT there, or go over to ChatGPT on openai.com and actually create an account and go ahead and play with it there. Begin to do little things. Don't give away your data. Don't do that. Don't start with that. You start off small and chunk off little pieces.
Hold on,
and then you get to something bigger.
Don't give away your data.
Don't give away your data. I want to have a whole conversation about that. That's what I wanted to talk about with Monique, is that data. Because that data, man, we got to get more serious about that.
So when you say data, let the people know when you're saying don't give away your data, because they're like, I have to put in my, we're educating a lot of people today. Prompt is the language that you put the information, the text that you put in there is the prompt. But data, what data are you alarming them to not insert in there?
So first of all, when you're trying it out, before you've decided that you want to proceed with AI, use an account that is not linked to your business. If you're, doing this for business purposes, don't link it to your business yet. Like, don't do that. Because once you create a link, unless you're somebody like me who's actually reading the terms and conditions of what you are doing, you may inadvertently be providing access to more than you thought. And so you want to be aware. So my first tip is read the terms of service. Second tip is have a different account or create a separate account that's not linked to your email, your business workspaces and things like that. If you're using something like Google Workspace, make sure that it's a totally different account than the one that you have for business. So that's step one, is safety. Step two is to chunk off a little bit. So start to, tap in. There are prompts, what we call prompts, which are, if you want to define what a prompt is an instruction. You are telling this thing what you want it to do, how you want it to behave, and what you want it to provide. So that's like the very basic of what a prompt is.
How should I walk my dog on rainy days? I'm being funny with what I'm saying, but that would be the prompt, but you have to put something in front of that.
That's actually a good example.
Polite.
Like, we could do that live.
Please be my dog, dog walker coach.
How can I launch a dog walking business?
Yeah.
That's something very small that can get you to what we call a rabbit hole. So you talked about the rabbit. The rabbit is from the rabbit hole. And so we're jumping down a rabbit hole, which is this big, long thing that is, you might never come out because once you go in, you start finding other little things, and that carrot has been dangled and you're running after the carrot and you're trying to find your way to the other side, which is where you know how you're going to use it, what you're going to use it for, and you're using it and you're implementing it into your business. But even then, you're not out that rabbit hole. That rabbit hole is deep. So
it's very deep. And let's do so we got safety, chunk of a little bit, just a little bit at a time, putting in your prompts. What would be next? Because I want to get to blockchain before we run out of time.
So next up, you could do something for your business. Still not using a business account, but do something for your business. And so when I said earlier to not give it your data, you would do something like ask it to create a business plan, but you're not feeding it that intelligence. You're just giving it the high level things that you want it to provide you, and then see where that takes you. See where that takes you with your comfort level, your adoption level, and then see where, how you're working with that particular AI, because every AI is not for everybody and every purpose. And you have options. So there's ChatGPT, there's Google's Gemini, there is Claude 3. Those are my favorite 3. You have Perplexity, you have there's so many, there's thousands that have been implemented in just the last, I'd say 6 months, but start with one of those and just chunk it off and just see how you do with it. Once you're actually ready to begin to talk about things with your business, maybe you want that to be a little bit more private. So if you're using a Google service, you can actually subscribe to Google Workspaces and then add on the AI components. That makes sure that everything you're doing is private. If you are going to still use ChatGPT, consider in your small business, consider using ChatGPT Teams, because that provides you with privacy. And when I say privacy in this case, I mean that your data is not being used to feed the AI for the next iteration of that AI bot. So that AI model historically has been fed off of the internet. Well, since we've been using it, there is also now all of that information, which is data, which is a commodity that is now being fed into the AI to make it better and improved, which not bad. They're doing a great job at that, I think. But you're not being paid for it. And if you have a business, you want to make sure that your framework for your business is not just being given out to anybody who asks the right question. Right.
Same in part. That's why Roblox was just that lawsuit just went through because all the different, I don't know the lingo. So the scenarios and the building blocks that the kids were doing was feeding Roblox growth, and kids aren't getting paid for it. So Roblox got sued, and I think it was successful. The lawsuit was successful, correct?
I don't know. I got to go look that one up.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that one. I do know several years ago, Roblox was dinged very much because their creator program wasn't paying enough. And so they do have a creator program. I'm not sure. That was before their AI rolled out. But they do have a creator program. And I was trying to help my niece get started with that. It is there, it's available. You can earn money. The problem was that you were not able to earn enough, you were not able to earn enough. So their developers, there was a situation where their developers and the kids were not earning enough to compensate for the actual overall program.
Which was it's a big issue across the board. When you go with social media, the different influencers and creators, YouTube influencers and creators, nobody's getting paid. I mean, music artists, Snoop Dogg's complaining. Everybody's complaining about, I'm not getting paid enough. And we don't want to go into this new arena with that same yearning to be paid our value, especially if we're going to take the time to learn all about this. So let's try to switch gears and start talking about blockchain. Now, blockchain is still a mystery to me. Maybe in the future, I'm gonna have my good guy Amal Williams. Yeah, I sent a shout out with your name. I'm gonna pull you in, Amal. But definitely help us to understand the protections that blockchain would provide us as business owners and entrepreneurs. What opportunities as investors should we be looking towards to begin to invest in blockchain for our companies and for our investment strategies? And lastly, what is blockchain? Can you define blockchain for us?
Well, yes, I can. So blockchain is the answer. No, it is. Blockchain is a decentralized and distributed digital ledger. It's technology that it records your transactions in a transparent way. Your transactions are stored in blocks of information and data. And then those blocks are replicated. They're linked together and replicated across nodes. And it's a chronological chain that creates a transparent and immutable record of all of your transactions.
High level voice.
It is.
All right.
Okay,
remember nodes. All right.
So think about your bank today. Now, let me say this. So when I talk about blockchain, I usually do not talk about finances. That's not where I come from with blockchain education. But it's important to understand the properties of the blockchain. So let me just say that.
Okay.
The blockchain provides you with a means of recording information. So you're a business owner. It provides you with a way to record your information. Those information or those transactions that you do on a daily basis that you want recorded, whether it's PVC certifications or it's educational certifications, or it is actual transactions like a loyalty program for your business and your customers. That can all be stored as data on the blockchain. What you get from that is the properties of the blockchain. So one, it's decentralized. Decentralized means that we're disrupting the idea that a centralized entity such as Google, Facebook, Netflix, all the FAANG companies, Amazon, Apple, that they own your data. So we're the people, right? Like we've been owned before and we don't need to be owned right now. And right now our data is being owned. And so what blockchain technology does is disrupt that idea. Like you are no longer having your data owned by those companies. We're positioning it in a way that is transparent, which means everybody can see every kind of transaction. It is open on a public blockchain. It is trustless, meaning I don't need to know your driver's license number, your home address, your social security number, and everything else that we call personally identifiable information. I no longer need to know that to transact with you because we're going to give you a wallet number. All I need is that wallet. You sign yourself into that wallet, and then you transact with that wallet, and it provides you with what we call a decentralized identity. Okay, DID.
And let's pause there because
Okay.
I mean, people they're going to try to catch up as much as possible. Fortunately, I met with Naja Roberts, and she hit me to the wallet and the ledger. So I know what you're saying, but I still don't have my wallet yet. But it's still my wallet. I don't have my physical wallet with the ledger.
Okay.
So just break that down for them. When the wallet, we know our physical wallet, we understand that language, but in the blockchain is it a blockchain universe? What do you call it? Just the blockchain world?
Well, I call it the metaverse because that's where all these things come together. So we're going to get
the metaverse. Help them understand the wallet and the ledger. I think that's very important.
So the wallet, again, I don't usually talk about this part, but I'm going to say that the wallet in terms of transactions is where you store things. And you are used to a wallet that's digital. You know why? Because I bet you look at your phone and you can see that Apple Pay and you can see Google Pay. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. It is a digital wallet. So that wallet lives out here in the blockchain, which y'all and traditional spaces we would call the cloud. Right? Like, so it lives over there, but in the blockchain is where this is stored. And the difference between the blockchain and the cloud is that the cloud is centralized servers. Those servers are centralized. They are owned by a centralized entity, and they sit in a single server that might be replicated or duplicated or redundant, right? For backup purposes. But you know what's happened to those wallets historically and your bank historically? It's been hacked.
Yes.
Thieves have gone in, and because it sits in a centralized place, it's able to be hacked. And that information can be siphoned off from everybody under the sun and then sold on the black market somewhere. And so, you know, folks can start because there's so many hacks, people can start putting these things together and identifying who you are now, even though, you know, said company has done their best to make sure that it's not able to be identifiable. Because there are so many pieces of information about you out in all these different sources that are in these black markets, now they can start to piece things together. Like if you use a particular schema for your passwords, and it might be different on every website, but if 45 different websites have been hacked, someone can start to put together that logic that you've used up here, right? So think about that. But the wallet itself, it holds more than crypto. So that's a piece I won't talk about. Crypto is a cryptocurrency. Please do go to Naja.
We'll get Naja and some others to come on to talk about that.
we'll get y'all to Naja because she's an excellent trainer for that. Yeah. But when we're talking about it for other things, it's where your information is stored. Likely that is going to be an NFT, a non-fungible token, which means that there's a 1 and 1. Like it's not like a cryptocurrency. It's not like a coin. It's not duplicatable or intentionally replaceable. So like it's not a 1-to-1 transaction. Like no NFT is the same as the other. They are all given their unique identifiers, and that provides you with very specific ownership.
And that would be the IP. We're talking IP right now for those who don't understand. We're talking, this would be the intellectual property in the blockchain, metaverse, et cetera, et cetera.
It's the ownership. So think about so real estate. So in real life, you have real estate. In real life, you go out to a property and you buy that property. What if I told you that, you know, thinking about the blockchain and the metaverse coming together, we have something called virtual real estate. And so you can actually buy a piece of these virtual platforms that host virtual engagements and be identified as the one and only owner of that space, which gives you the right to control who has access to it. It gives you the right to control what you're doing on it and what the rules and regulations of that place are, if any. And so that is one piece of the metaverse that we'll talk about. But also the ownership piece is extremely important. The blockchain is secure. I'd mentioned hacking with the other, with traditional spaces.
Centralized ones.
Hacking happens on the blockchain, but it's not to the blockchain. When things are hacked or you're hearing about money being stolen, that's a result of something called social engineering, where people are tricking you out of your money because you were not educated on what this space is and how to actually transact in this space. That's why I'm telling you to go to Naja for that education, because I'm not the person for that. But it is extremely important. And so when you're thinking about this blockchain a little bit more, we have faster settlements. So settlement is when the money is actually yours and able to sit in what we call your account. In the real world, we've seen that, you know, if you go into a bank and ask for a large sum of money, people are looking at you funny sideways. We've seen folks getting arrested because they wanted to ask for too much money, and the bank tellers didn't feel a good way about them asking about their own money. And that those two things are unacceptable. So the blockchain disrupts that. There are fast settlements on the blockchain, and your transactions are also anonymous, generally speaking. That's kind of shifting a little bit now as government is getting involved in things. But it's secure, it's encrypted information, it's encrypted transactions. There is a fast settlement. It is distributed across nodes. And so those nodes are places that store your information. That means that node number 1 can go down, but guess what? That doesn't mean you don't have access to whatever's stored there. So if you have a website stored on the blockchain, that website's still going to be up because the other nodes still contain that information.
And I'm glad you brought that up. And then after this conversation, we'll transition into your art, because I know that's going to be the big piece for today that people is going to blow their minds. So thank y'all again for tuning in to the Faithful Entrepreneurship Mastermind. Today, you're getting more than what was promised, more than what was promised. But thank you so being tuned in. But yeah, let's talk about that right there. The websites of today, right? What we have right now. There is a huge worry in the designer community, the graphic design community, and the UX community, that websites as we know them will be no more. So do you have the ability? Is it something you want to touch on, or should we transition into the artwork?
No, I'd say the websites for, there's so many reasons that's changing. That's all a part of Web3. So first of all, yeah, it's changing. It's all changing. Get ready for change. You have to become comfortable because this world is changing, and it's changing very, very fast. So websites are changing. It is something called Web3. And so right now you are used to the idea of scrolling up and down on a web page. You're used to opening up your browser and clicking a tab and then being able to navigate based on that domain name that ends in like a .com or .io, and then going to whatever page and scrolling up and down, perhaps purchasing something that way. All of that is changing. And so with the metaverse and Web3 coming up, you now have the idea that you are going to, instead of going to that web page, you're going to get up and walk around inside of that store that you were trying to go to. So you want to go shop somewhere, to your favorite boutique web page. You're going to get up and walk inside of that with an avatar. And so I heard,
TeLisa,
first speaker mentioned her avatar, and I looked at the screen. I was like, oh, she's in her avatar. She's on screen with her avatar. She was with her profile picture, and we also call that an avatar. But the avatars that I'm referring to are different. Like the avatars that I'm referring to are actual 3D walking, talking representations of you in a virtual space. And so you literally can get up and walk around inside of a store or a storefront, or a web page. Your avatar is going to, they can't do this specifically right now, but they're going to be able to replicate you in size and in matter. So your avatar, if you weigh 250, your avatar can weigh 250 for 5 seconds if you want her to, while she's trying on that shirt, and she has exact measurements as you do. And she's going to be able to be fitted for that outfit. And then you can click ship, and it will get physically shipped to you in the real world from that virtual store. And then your avatar can go back to whatever you wanted her to look like, whether that was being a cat today, or perhaps a lion, or, whatever, or a direct replication of you, if that's what you want.
And yeah, so get ready. Yeah, there's a couple of people. I'm definitely going to bring a couple of people on to talk about Web3 because that, as business owners, I think we need to get ahead of that now and start to really understand the possibilities and opportunities that it will avail us. So definitely, when I get that panel together, I may ask you to come back and
please do. Because that's what I specialize in, right? So we're talking about, I do it for small businesses. I have a history of working with large organizations that were decentralized and centralizing them. And then one day I realized that that's not what I want for our future. And so I started my own thing, and it's all about decentralization. So as we're talking about these things, AI, blockchain, and the metaverse, and Web3, all of that comes together in the metaverse. So, as a small business owner, you have to think, like, what does that look like? Your website's changing. We told you the idea of teammates are changing. So your teammates, you can have AI teammates now instead of doing it all yourself, or, maybe hiring AI as an intern. You can have that. But you're going to have these augmented figures on your team, and this idea of this new storefront, and you're going to be able to pull that all together and bring it to a metaverse space where people from around the world can visit you. You're no longer going to be trapped into the fact that you can only operate locally because that's what your hands can reach. The whole world can reach out and touch you in your metaverse space, and they're just one portal jump away from doing that. I am doing a series, if you look behind me, all month long. I have been delivering a series on discovering emerging technologies. And that is where I have talked to techies. I did my first experience was with Black Technology in February, and then I replicated it for March. And so we've done techies. We did a session for women. We did a session for gamers, which was outstanding. It was so much fun. And then last week, I had an amazing session for consultants. But this week is the last week, and we're going to be doing that Saturday at 10 a.m. And it is a course for small business owners. So how do you put all these things that I've talked about together to actually start making them useful in your business? And that's really what I'm delivering.
And I will post that as well. It will be on the account. I'll put it in the comments so people can know it, but I'll also put it in the after post, that information so that the people can register as well. Because if you are a small business owner, entrepreneur, or a person interested in blockchain, NFTs, and Web3, you need to be, metaverse and Web3, you need to be talking with NiKole.
Yeah.
So let's end this because we went over a little bit over time, but it's okay. I want to end this with the NFT art. And did I say it right? Is it artwork with AI? Art?
Yeah, artwork by Technikole. Okay. It is AI generated art. I have been an AI artist since 2021. When I learned how to do it in a room on Clubhouse over the summer, and I began minting my own things. And so I specialize in experiential NFTs, but I also teach how to create AI art, how to use AI art, because I'm a techie. And for me, my whole life, it's never been, hey, Grandma, it's never been,
I knew it had to be somebody that you knew.
I've never been somebody who understood, how to be creative with pen and paper. That was just not me. I was the person trying to figure out the code behind the thing. And so with AI, when I discovered it, it was something that would let me take my thoughts and turn them into the pictures that I actually see. Like I could pick, what was the closest thing to like what I was actually trying to get to. And now the whole rest of the world has kind of woken up to that. And so it's amazing. If you don't know how to use AI art, or if you're struggling to try to you're that person who just can't, you don't have a creative bone in your body, this is the answer. And we're seeing it in takeover in marketing. We're seeing alternatives be provided to these stock image options that have been out here and siphoning our money for years. We are definitely seeing ways that small businesses can put this type of imagery to work for them, whether it's just something quick that you can get up and put out in Canva, or as an NFT for your loyalty program, and put it on the blockchain, or just really putting it to use. I've done so many different things that we don't have time to talk about most of them, but most recently in 2022, I created the endometriosis info gallery of the metaverse for the International Women of Blockchain Conference.
Let people
and
know
that
what
is
that is.
Huh?
Let people know what that is.
Oh yeah, that is you can go to Technikole.com, Technikole.com.
Yep.
It's right behind me. And /endo, ENDO. And if you've never been in the metaverse, go there now, because you can jump in and that will be your first metaverse experience. But I've done a collection every year called She Shamrocks, and that is dedicated to endometriosis and making sure that the sister girls who like the color green, like me, have a place to showcase that on St. Patrick's Day. So I deliver it on my birthday, which is the day before St. Patrick's Day, and I've done that every year for the last 3 years. So this year it is She Shamrocks. They are sister girls out there that smile. They have a smile on their face, but they are in excruciating pain. And each one is named. They have a profession, and they tell a little bit about each one of them. And if you let me, I can show it. Can I show it?
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen. And this is this year's collection. Each one of them is a She Shamrock. This is on the Zora NFT marketplace. And like I said, each one is a little sister girl. And if you click on them, they are GIFs. And so they are animated a little bit. And they show that, like, this is Tamara, and she has stage 4 endometriosis. She is also a graphic designer. Tamara's joyful expression transcends her endometriosis journey. And so anyway, so these are available on Zora. I think that there are still first mentor rewards out there. So anybody who connects their wallets and goes ahead and mints one, you get those rewards from Zora, and you get to be a part of the family. And I've taken this one step further this year. And anyone who is a holder, well, that's what we call it, if you own one of these, if you are a holder of one of these NFTs, then you can also reach out to me, and I will help you to put it on the face of a cup or a keychain or any other kind of object that you want to have that on, and I can help you do that. So that's kind of the reward that these NFTs unlock for anyone who actually purchases one.
Awesome.
So this is just an example, but I got a whole bunch of different art styles and a ton of different things that I've done with NFTs. That just happens to be what we did this year.
Well, hey, as promised, the finale to the Faithful Entrepreneurship Mastermind, Women Entrepreneurs of Faith series was going to be amazing. I wasn't disappointed. Thank you to TeLisa for being our guest presenter today, giving us oversight of how to connect to AI and utilize it, giving us some information on just getting started. Thank you to Monique Clarke of Bytes, definitely giving coding utilities to our future young people, 8 to 11. I think it's 8 to 11 or 8 to 12. But thank you, NiKole. Technikole came and showed out today, just as I knew she would. So for those who are still not familiar with NiKole, she is someone who can consult you on how to get into the metaverse, utilizing just a one-step approach at a time approach to build your business, to be a part of the new frontier, because this is coming, whether you like it or not, it's coming. And before a lot of laws and things get instituted to change the landscape, get into it now. So a lot of us wish that we were back in the old Western days, and we could have gotten so much land. But now is that digital landscape frontier. This is the wild, wild west. It might be a little bit less now. It was wild west about 10 years ago.
It's still
but
wild.
Still wild. Okay. Still a wild west. And we can have an opportunity to get in and actually benefit from this opportunity as entrepreneurs of faith. So again, NiKole, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your ability to transcend and to go over those barriers that are there for Black and brown women, but also women in technology.
Yeah,
so again,
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. This has been great. Thank you.
It's definitely been awesome. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. My name is Garry Ratliff. I'm the founder of G Relations LLC and your host for the Faithful Entrepreneurship Mastermind. Next month, I have to tell you, I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to take a week off to figure it out. And when I come back after my week vacation, I'm going to hit you with some more content. But I do have an announcement. Not only are we going to have Tuesdays for the Faithful Entrepreneurship Mastermind, but coming in May, I am bringing back the Good Note Friday. Good Note Fridays will be back on and starting in May. Good Note Friday, as you see my book here, the Good Note Book of Quotes, is where I sit down and teach you to have moment of reflection experiences. And I talk to individuals in the life and health space to help encourage you to have a better mindset, to be healthy, mind, body, and spirit, but also advance in everything you do. So again, thank you for joining us here today. I look forward to connecting with you next month as I figure out where do we go. As I said, I'm doing this as we go. The Faithful Entrepreneurship Mastermind is here to empower you, encourage you, and educate you. So be empowered, be encouraged, and be educated in all that you do. Thank you. God bless.